Hi, and welcome to this week's inspiring motivational chat. My name is Eddie, and I am a therapist in New Jersey who specializes in trauma, stress, and anxiety. And I put out these little nuggets of hope and inspiration and wisdom as I go on my journey towards fulfilling my ultimate my ultimate purpose and my potential. So this week's little nugget is called Stop Focusing on the How. I have been trying to enter into a life of less is more, and I will tell you that it's not going well. I am notoriously a workaholic. I love working. I love the idea of being quote unquote productive. And in my effort to just make more space and time for myself, I have been trying to become much more intentional about creating space for rest. I have recently read this book called Rest, and he makes a good case, the author does, for why rest should be a crucial part of our lives for our ultimate well-being and for our ultimate ability to be more productive. So for me, the rest, while it has been forced and recognizing that it's necessary, has come with lots of guilt and feelings of overwhelm. The past me, the we need to be busy me, has wanted to jump into projects and to-do lists, but the homemaker part of me says, no, we need time to rest and recharge. And I could sense that the homemaker in me was brewing up something powerful, and she needed time to present me with an idea. And I could see that the busybody me of the past was freaking out because it knew change was coming. Most of us don't like change. It's it's part of human nature. It's part of our evolution to not like change. Change often is perceived as dangerous, and so we don't like change. We don't like the unknown. And when it shows up, it can feel like we are at war. The internal war between the part of us that is comfortable with the status quo and the part of us that wants to do something bigger and better. It's always a battle. And think about how challenging it can be when you want to start a new diet or you want to leave a job where you're just not happy with what your current situation is, but then the part of you that wants to stay comfortable starts to present fear. There's fear around doing something different. There's the fear about what if we don't survive? What if we fail? What if this is not good for us? Even though consciously we know that the change would be good for us. But our brains are primed for survival, and we'd rather stick with the devil we know, even if it's awful, versus the devil we don't know, aka uncertainty. To be in this profession is to know the process, but it still doesn't mean that I'm not susceptible to the survival part of my brain that does not like change. So choosing intentional rest has not been easy, and I have been susceptible to sabotage. And because I know how sneaky our subconscious can be, I have to utilize the tips and tricks that I have taught and used as a therapist on myself. It includes more journaling, more meditation, more fun, and just small incremental changes. The beautiful thing for me that has come out of rest has been daydreaming. I have rediscovered parts of myself that I thought had long been gone. It's been nice. It's been really nice. I forgot what it was like to just have fun, to just do a puzzle, to just read a book, to just sit outside, to just go to a museum and just watch some art. Also, though, what has been showing up for me in the daydreaming have been these grand dreams. These dreams that I never would have thought of. These dreams that I never would think oh, I can do that. And this is the time when I was just doing a puzzle on a random Friday, and I would say I call her the homemaker, and this is where she dropped a big one on me. And while I was in the middle of just a domesticated day of baking bread and letting the bread rest, and I was doing my puzzle, the thought came to me, and she said to me, Wouldn't it be great if all moms had the freedom and flexibility to just be present and do the mom thing? Of course, I immediately thought. And then she told me my mission. And before I share with you what that mission statement is, let me tell you, the primitive survival part of my brain started freaking out. She was freaking out. She was like, "What are you saying? Where did this thought come from? And this is not good." And I knew she was freaking out because she kept yelling at me, How? How are you going to do this? So here's a little secret. Whenever you hear the how of something, I know that change is being stifled. I know that the subconscious is trying to prevent you from making change. But I have to remember this, and I have to tell you this, and I'm old school, but I remember back in the days of when I had English class, and we had to do the 5W assignments. When you were writing a paper, your framework always landed around being able to answer these 5 questions. Who, what, where, when, and why. How came later, if it ever even came at all. I don't even remember when how came into the 5W assignments, but I remember it was never there. It was always who, what, where, when, and why. And that framework, I think, has been lost in our society because we've been drowned out by lots of how questions, right? And think about when we were kids and we had these grand ideas and the adults in our lives would say, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to make that happen? And I think that we learn to stifle the grand ideas because we're met with, well, how are you going to do that? How's that going to happen? What does that mean? I don't understand. How? And I think that fear has made us focus on the wrong things. And I suspect that we now have become afraid to take risks. I get it. I'm one of those people that are afraid to take risks because I'm older, I have more at stake, and there's just more fear. And there's this idea that if we can't answer the how of something, it is perceived as not being a good plan or idea. But if you think about some of the greatest inventions of all time, the question never started with how. It often started with just an idea. From the invention of the car, the telephone, even the invention of our country. When the founding fathers said, I think we should think about becoming our own independent country. If the resounding feeling was, well, how are we going to do that? Then maybe we may not exist, right? The question was never how. It was always like, I think I have an idea. And you were surrounded by the type of people that said, that's interesting. Tell me more. Let's think about this. To pursue an idea takes courage. And beyond the negative voices of those in our lives is the negative voice in your own head. If you can navigate through the noise in your own head, your dream has a chance of making it. So this week, I invite you to dream big and focus on the 5 W's. Don't worry about the how. The how will show up later after you've had a chance to quiet down the internal voice that says, how are you going to do it? One tip I have for you is to share the dream with someone. By bringing the dream to light, you have taken the dream to the real world because you gave it life through hearing it said out loud. If you're afraid to share it, be comforted by the fact that it's only an idea. And if you're around the right people, they will want to see your dream realized. They will say, tell me more. And if you need someone to share your dream with, do not hesitate to put me a comment or send me a private message and let me know what your dream is. I will be more than happy to give you a yes and not ask you how you're going to do this. So below, I will tell you my dream, and it might take a lifetime or a year to achieve, but the seed has now been planted, and I'm taking the time to quiet my mind, answer the 5 W's, and focus on the how later. If you find yourself asking, how is she going to do that? Try to focus instead on what could she do to make that happen. So until next time, enjoy, and if you like it, thumbs up, or just hit the like button. So here's my mission. My mission is to help make 1 million moms globally around the world make $1 million in income so that they have the freedom and the flexibility to be the moms that they want to be. and have the ability to be present and available to and for their children. Thank you.